I thought it'd be interesting for you to see how I filter things once I have pulled everything that might work from my stash. So here I have the garment laid below, and then you can see my notes. The black at the upper left is just too dark. It would stick out like a sore thumb. Opposite of that, the one in the middle there is too light. I certainly wouldn't want to draw that kind of attention to my hips. Below that to the left is a ruffle fabric, but fabrics can have a cool or bluish undertone, or they can have a more warmer, a more yellowy undertone. And this top seemed to be a more warm undertone gray, and this fabric more of a cool undertone gray. So it was no good either. The one at the right, I just felt it was too black and white instead of gray. But then the rosy one at the bottom, I just felt like it blended in well and would be perfect. So that's why I went with that and put the others back in my stash. This is Londa, and I'm in my sewing studio. I am working on this wonderful knit top that I found at the thrift store New Year's Day for half price. That made it about $2, I believe. And some wonderful print Rochelle knit from my stash. You need a stash. It was a long t-shirt, but not long tunic length like is so in right now. So I'm trying to work out some details here for adding cascade sides and godets, that type of thing, to shorter t-shirts in order to make them the longer tunic length. Right here I'm at the center back, and I thought this would be a good place to do a quick little video to show you a couple of things. What I'm using is monofilament in a smoke color, because I'm working on darker colors, in my needle. Note that I've got a small spool cap on here. You never want to use a spool cap bigger than the end of your spool of thread. This is Wonder Thread from YLI. I have my tension set lower than normal. This is about buttonhole tension. And for the stitch, I have it on a zigzag, 2.5 wide, 3 long. Now, I used tape to figure out how long and what curve to cut the bottom edge, which will be the finished edge of this knit piece. But the reason I cut it longer than what I knew I would want, see, I actually want this cut edge to be up here, is exactly the reason that's showing up right now. As you're putting fabric on top of other fabric and putting it down topically, you cannot not ever pull it tighter than the fabric to which it's being joined. So it needs to be in a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you can see right here, there's some tension going on here. So I need to release this pin and let that relax, which is going to actually take up some of that length. I don't know if I can do this here holding the camera, but do you see that I'm really just kind of zigging on one side and zagging on the other? Here then is that finished center back seam. If you can see real close, you can see the little zigzag, but on a galloping horse, no one will see that stitching. If you hear any thumps or sawing in the background, we're having a huge oak tree taken down in the backyard today. When it's 19 degrees outside, I'm happy I'm here in my studio and not outside. Now I progressed on to the upper place where this fabric is attaching to fall, like from the midriff area. And you can see, as I designed on my dress form, I put my pins in parallel. I've reduced my stitch width now to a little bit less, since I only need to catch the one layer, so I'm at 2 wide. And then as I come to the pins, I can carefully take them out. So I'm zigging into the fabric and zagging off into the base t-shirt.